Okay, hey guys, sorry about that. I do not know what is going on with my sound at the moment. Is it better right now? Um, yeah, so today's show, I'm going to have to cut it for future users that are going to be watching the show. So today is all about Quentin de Kock. We're going to be chatting about Quentin de Kock, speaking about what is his strengths, speaking about how we get the best out of him, speaking about who are the best partners for him. All of those things is what we're going to speak about in today's show. What we can do as South Africa to help him, and obviously what we can do as South Africa as a team to elevate him, and obviously help him play his best cricket. Now, that's what today's show is going to be about. I really want to focus on Quinny because we had a show yesterday. We touched on it a bit, but I thought that it is important that we speak about him as a whole because I mean, yesterday's show was supposed to be about something completely different, and then Quentin de Kock went and did a madness. So it's very important that we speak about him right now, and talk about how we can get the best out of him as a cricketer, as an opener for South African cricket. So let's get into today's video. I'm excited to have a chat with you guys. But before we get going, click subscribe, click that notification bell for all future videos. And don't forget to also smash that like button. Get involved with the like button. Drop a like on the video. It's very important that you do so. That's how we continuously get into recommended feeds. So and share this video with all friends and family as well. Don't forget to also download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. And become a patron today as well. It's very important that you do so too. This is how we grow. This is how we can get better background. I can get like green screens, all of those type of things to make myself look a little bit better on camera, maybe even a studio. I prefer the natural look, so maybe you guys can help me put the shelf on, and then down the line you guys can probably donate certain things that you want me to put on that shelf or put in the background on my wall or frames or whatever the case may be, photographs, whatever it may be. So get involved with the Patreon account. It's very important that you do so to support us here at Cricket Fanatics magazine. But cricketfanaticsmag.com is where we update you on all things cricket in South Africa. So go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all updates. We have news updates, we have features, we have exclusive interviews, exclusive written content that is there too. We want to be the number one cricket publication in South Africa. That is the goal. That is the aim. So when it comes to South African cricket, we want to be there right on top, and we're going to need your help to do so. So you guys need to support us in every way possible. So go to cricketfanaticsmag.com. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host, Khalid Maiden, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. And today I've decided to speak about Quentin de Kock. I think Quentin de Kock is a very important player to South Africa, of course, that is a given. And I think that it's very important that we as South Africa and we as a nation, as a team, of course, get the best out of Quentin de Kock. For me, he's our best limited overs batter. Now, best T20 batter currently within the setup, I feel. Based on talent, based on history, I think he is a top player. And I do believe that we should, as a team, I think we should be able to bring out the best of him. Mark Boucher, the coaching staff, the players around him need to bring out the best in Quentin de Kock. Now, I think when we're looking at Quentin de Kock, it's an interesting one to look at because I think that there's lots of things that we can look at with regards to his performances, try and analyze how he is doing from a South African perspective in international cricket. It's very important that we separate, learn from the games around the world, but also and all the leagues around the world, but also make sure that we also separate the two, because international cricket for me is a completely different standard to domestic leagues, including the IPL. Personally, we see much smaller totals in international cricket than we see in the IPL, for example. We don't see as many big multi scores on a regular basis in international cricket because of the levels of bowling, the different pitches and the venues that they play at. It's all different. So you're not going to necessarily see the same standard, I feel personally, when it comes to international cricket compared to other domestic leagues. So it's important that we look at Quinton de Kock, and I'm going to try to bring up his stats right now so that you guys can have a look at what his stats are internationally and how he's fared when it comes to international cricket. And specifically, I'm talking about now playing T20 cricket for South Africa um, in his career so far. So let me just try and bring that up for you guys so that you guys can see what his records are and look at it. And particularly, I want to go to in depth. I don't want to just look at his average and his I don't want to just look at his average, etc. I want to look at his matches and see how he's done over a period of time. If has it been fluctuating? Is it going up and down? How does he perform for South Africa when it comes to international cricket? Now, what I think about Quinton de Kock is that the guy is someone that I feel personally needs a good partner that elevates his game. Um, when I say elevate his game, brings out the best in him. So I'm going to share with you basically Quinton de Kock's record so far. Let me see if I can do it from here. Okay, let's share screen. I just want to show you guys what his record is so far, and how not necessarily his record by his average and his strike rate, etc. But what I want to show you is particularly how he fares in T20 cricket. Is he as consistent as in other games? So in other formats, we can see over here that Quinny, since the beginning of his career, seemed very inconsistent with regards to his performances. He goes through patches where does really well, like you can see here against Australia, India, Afghanistan, and West Indies. Um, you can see that there's 47s, 45s, then there's a 52 in between, 25, 44 over here. Then if you move down, you'll have a couple of bad patches, then you'll score a big score, then you go through a couple of bad patches, score two on a trot, and then go off again and then score again. So when it comes to T20 cricket, he's very inconsistent when it comes to T20 cricket. Now, international cricket. But recently, you could say from West Indies time, you really started to see his game become more consistent. And he scored quite a few half centuries around that time against West Indies and then Sri Lanka. And then he went on a little bit of a dip again to where he's currently at the moment. So generally speaking, when it comes to Quinny, he's not always. I wouldn't say he's always the type of guy that scores regularly. I'm going to show you the stats right now, so that you guys can see what I'm looking at. So I just wanted to see if everything is sorted. That's our Facebook page, guys. Please go and like our Facebook page just to show you guys if you want to see our Facebook page. But generally speaking, like I was saying, you see at the beginning of his career, 28, and then he goes and he scores some runs, and he goes on a little bit of a run, and then he goes a little bit dead, and then he scores some runs. So it's quite inconsistent when it comes to Quinton de Kock at the T20 international level. So it's interesting to see that. I don't know if you guys can see. I'll try to make it a little bit. Try to zoom in a little bit for you guys so you can see. Over here. Cool. So as you can see, against New Zealand on his debut in T20 cricket, 28 not out, then 0 not out, then 2, 5, 19, 16, 48 not out, 30, 43, 26, 41 not out, 41 not, 41, 25, 40, 29, 6, 46, 0, 48, 12, 44, 7, 44, and then he goes on a little bit of a run, and then he goes on a dip, gets another half century, goes on a little dry spell, gets a couple of half centuries in a row, goes on a little dip, scores another half century, etc. You get the point. And probably his most recent against the West Indies, that was probably his best run when it comes to that. So, yeah, generally speaking, Quinton de Kock is quite inconsistent when it comes to international cricket. But that's not only, I feel, his fault alone. I don't think he can be at fault alone for that. I think there's a combination of things that we can probably talk about when it comes to Quinton de Kock. Now, first and foremost, what I wanted to show you guys is I wanted to pick first and foremost, when does Quinton de Kock play his best cricket? Now, we saw yesterday, probably one of his best T20 games that he's played in his career, I think. And what helped him a lot is KL Rahul on the other end. Um, KL Rahul wasn't someone that was trying to hog the spotlight. He wasn't necessarily someone that was trying to take farm the strike, but he kind of allowed. He saw when he was in the groove and in the mood, and he allowed him to be that. And actually, KL Rahul got quite a lot of flack on Twitter for batting so slowly. In fact, um, a lot of people said, "Oh no, he's batting too slowly at the other end." But I feel that having a player like if you are watching the RCB game currently, the way Kohli and and Faf are complementing each other. There's periods in the game where Faf takes a seat back, and Faf is the type of player that we've seen in T20 cricket quite regularly. He's a guy that kicks on towards the end of towards the middle of the innings, towards the end of an innings. So he'd take his time to get in, and then he'll shoot at the back end, like similarly to someone like Rassie van der Dussen. Now I've put up a poll for you guys to vote because I would like to know what you guys thought who's the best partner. So when I'm looking at it currently, and there was a question about Temba Bavuma, there's questions constantly about Temba Bavuma all the time, and he's constantly being questioned on whether he should be a T20, whether he's a T20 player or not. And I went to go look at the stats, and when you look at the stats and you see domestic cricket in South Africa, in fact, Riza Hendricks is actually second on that list with the second most amount of runs in domestic cricket, which is quite impressive for Riza Hendricks. And yet he is someone that maybe not a lot of us would say deserves a position instantly. Some people might say that he needs to still prove himself because him too in international cricket again he's inconsistent. But when it comes to domestic cricket, like I said, he's the best domestic batter in T20 cricket in South Africa, or second best in South Africa. Let me just double check for you guys to see who the best was. It was quite a long time ago that I did that. That I actually quite a while back that I actually checked that out. So let me just go down and have a look. I did it earlier on. Where is it? I did prepare this, guys, so don't think that I'm not prepared for the show. I just lost the link completely. Here we go. I'm going to try and share that with you guys as well, so that you guys can have a look at that. Let me just share that with you quickly. Chrome, let's go. Okay, so these are the highest strike rates that I'm showing you right now. So if you look at the strike rates overall, you can see who the top guys are. This is the incorrect one. I'm not showing you the right one here. I want to show you guys the top run scorers. I think it's the one below that one. That's this one here, I think. Geez, there's so many links, so many different links, etc. That we have to look at. Let's just go this, copy and paste. You guys are seeing me live over here doing things. So let's go. Cool. Mone van Wyk on top, 3,183 runs in his career, average of 31, strike rate of 124. Now, if you look at the top run scorers in South African cricket, in T20 cricket, they all have strike rates of about 120, apart from Fahan Beardine, who has a strike rate of 138.48. Now, he never batted in the top order, unlike the others on that list. So it's important that we look at that too. I'll zoom in for you guys a little bit more so you can see, because from on my screen, it doesn't seem like you guys can see everything. But if you look at Riza Hendricks, average of 35 in domestic cricket, that doesn't necessarily carry over into international cricket. His international form hasn't been as great as his domestic form. Riza Hendricks, he's been good in some games, and then in some games he hasn't been. He hasn't been the most consistent batter when it comes to domestic cricket. But look at those games, all over 100 games. So when you look at the domestic cricket and you try to find a partner, based on stats alone, you'll probably have to say Riza Hendricks, because he's opened the batting before with Quinton de Kock, and I mean, not with Quinton de Kock, he's opened the batting before in domestic cricket for the Lions, and with Quinton de Kock in domestic cricket too. I mean, in international cricket too. You see here, this is where Quinny sits, right here with 64 matches, And you want to see, I know some of you might want to see um, Temba Bavuma's stats. He's played only 51 games for South Africa in T20 cricket, but he averages 29 and he has a strike rate of 120. I mean, you can compare that to someone like Cashel Prince in T20 cricket above him, chalk and cheese between the two of them. Temba has 100 as well, which he scored in a final for the Lions. So, for me personally, when I'm looking at Quinny and I'm looking at what he needs, when Quinny gets bogged down at the crease or gets stuck at the crease, he doesn't tend to he doesn't tend to bat very deep in those occasions. He tends to lose his wicket quite quickly, or only score like a 41 or 42, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, so it's very important that we can find the right partner for Quinton de Kock. And for me personally, when I look at the guys that have been selected in the past, ones that allow Quinton de Kock the ability to be able to get off strike quickly when he's in trouble are the ones for me that really stand out. Now, I'm going to look at the poll quickly to have a look at what you guys have voted for. I just want to see what you guys have voted in the live chat, who should be Quinton de Kock's partner when it comes to T20 cricket. It's just taking some while to load, guys. Let me just have a look. Come on, hurry up. Cheers. Okay, cool. So at the moment, Yanaman Malan is winning the race with 56%, but second is Temba Bavuma. So you guys have voted, obviously, as Yanaman Malan as the opening partner for Quinton de Kock. So now here's where I have a little bit of I wouldn't say an issue because I like Yanaman Malan, but I do feel that Yanaman Malan kind of has to take, especially in T20 cricket. Now, Yanaman's a great partner for Quinny in ODI cricket. I can't deny that. I've seen how Yanaman takes his time. He has more balls to work with. He's not put under the same amount of pressure as in ODI cricket. Like in ODI cricket, he has time to be able to have a couple of dot balls and to block it out overs, etc. In T20 cricket, you don't have the same luxury, unfortunately. You don't have the same luxury of being able to have a maiden over of where you just have no runs scored. So it's very important that South Africa try and find the best possible combination that can get the maximum amount of Quinny out of that power play, and then be able to have a partner that can support him, in the middle overs as well. So we need to find a balance with regards to that. So what I like about Temba and why I like Temba as a partner for Quinton de Kock is because Temba Bavuma is the captain. And I think he was the right choice as captain at that particular time in what was happening with South African cricket. There was a hell of a lot happening around South African cricket. And Temba Bavuma actually was a pivotal figure within that dressing room, from what I've heard from other players. He was a pivotal person within that setup to help these players, to help the players come together and ignore the outside noise. But not only that, to Temba Bavuma being a captain, he is not worried about necessarily being the superstar. He wants to do anything that is necessary for the team. Now, yes, we need to see Temba increase his strike rate, and maybe we can see him a little bit take the attack to the batters a lot more. But I do feel that if you have Quinton de Kock at the other end, that is firing, that is playing his natural game, having a partner that is a little bit more supportive on the other end is very important when it comes to that. It's very important to have a partner that can be able to rotate the strike. So when Quinny is struggling, to give it to the other guy and let him come off strike. Now, I do feel that Yanaman and Quinny in T20 cricket specifically would kind of clash, because there's going to be one batter on the other end that's just going to be ball watching and not be doing much. And for me personally, I want Quinton de Kock to face as many balls as possible in the power play. I want him to go there, play expressive cricket. But if it's not working for him, to be able to rotate the strike is important so that he can get someone else if the wicket is tricky. Now, for me, Temba Bavuma, with regards to tricky wickets, difficult wickets, spinning wickets, wickets that are not necessarily coming onto the bat quite well, um, then he's the better batter than Yanaman. I think Yanaman still has certain things within the T20 game that he needs to sort out, particularly against spin. We saw that against in the ODIs when Yanaman was playing and against spinners. He's found a way, like I said so many times, he's found a way to survive against spin, but he hasn't necessarily found a way to dominate spin. Like I'm talking about, that he's going to take it to the bowler when that bowler comes in. Quinton de Kock tends to do that. He's a type of batter that can take it to the spinners, but he can also but he can also take it to the seamers in the power play. Very difficult batter to read because you don't know what when he is going to come to the middle. But if Quinn is having a player at the other end that is also trying to find that form or is struggling, that's not a very good combination going forward. I feel that you need an adaptable opening partner next to him, adaptable opening partner with him that can really support him as the class act, as a star in this particular partnership, because that's what he is. We can't deny that Quinton Cock will be the star. We expect him to be able to bat, score 80s, score 70s consistently at the top. And what's needed is someone to support him. If wickets are falling at the other end, that's where Quinn is going to lose his mind because he's not going to know what to do. There's been times when that's happened and Quinn has lost his wicket on 40 or 20 balls or something, when he's lost everybody around him and we've been in a spot of bother. But if he has someone a little bit more, I wouldn't say conservative, but someone that can really protect him and give him an out when he's struggling, that would be the perfect situation for Quinton de Kock. Someone that can play an innings like KL Rahul played yesterday. Whenever Quinton de Kock does well, there is someone on the other end that does something like that. It's very seldom that we see in South African cricket two openers that are massively going for it. There's always one that kind of sits back in a way. Faf has kind of played that role within T20 cricket. IPLs, etc., we've seen that happen. I think that if he was playing international cricket, he would probably do the same thing, and we'd probably be complaining about that too. I think if his strike rate wasn't up there, but you guys have voted for what you guys think. You guys voted for what you guys think and who you guys want to see, and it's pretty clear that you don't believe that Temba Bavuma is the right partner for Quinton de Kock. And I tend to disagree, and that's okay. We all have our own opinions. I mean, I wouldn't throw my toys out of the cot if I see someone like Yanaman Malan get an opportunity and be the opener partner for the future. But for me personally, right now, I think that experience of Temba, the calm head of him, the ability to be able to rotate the strike, all of those things, that's very important. You guys have voted Yanaman Malan 53%. And Temba Bavuma 32%. And the fact that Riza Hendricks is getting some votes and Rassie van der Dussen is getting some votes proves my point that having a player at the other end that can support Quinton de Kock is also as important, because I really do think that we need to give him the best opportunity to perform every single time. And having an adaptable person on the other end is very important. Let's see what some of your comments have to say. They should just let Quinton de Kock be, unleash him, and we'll see the best in him. They put too much pressure on him as they identify him to the guy of limited overs cricket. Just tell him to bash the ball. But I think also what they put a lot of pressure on him with regards to being a senior person, a senior guy that's going to lead and teach the person on the other end. I don't think Quinton de Kock is necessarily that type of person. I feel that he needs to have someone on the other end that with a little bit more experience that can take that pressure off him, rather than him having to coach someone at the other end that's younger at the moment. So for me personally, I would prefer someone like Temba at the other end. Quinny is naturally gifted to allow him to play freely. Yes, and how do you allow him to play freely is my question. For me, the way you allow Quinny to play freely is to face majority of the balls in the power play. He needs to be the guy. He needs to be the one that shines. There shouldn't be another batter there that's taking the shine away from Quinny. And if it is at the point where he's a little bit struggling, then let him have a rest and let someone else soak up the pressure. And I think Temba is very good at soaking up pressure, and he's a very good player against spin, and he's a good runner between the wickets. And sometimes you're going to need to do that, because having a good runner between the wickets not only rotates the strike, but also gets runs quickly on the board when the bowlers are actually bowling quite well. Quinton should improve short selection, but play natural game. He can take away the game from opposition. Yes, that's what we want him to do. Earlier, he was getting 30s. Now he's better percentage cricket, and when he goes big, it's insane that Faf is not in the T20 squad. Yes, it is, and I want to stop talking about it because it just depresses me every time I think about it. So we have to move on from that. Um, he's far better than Bavuma, Riza, and Klaasen. Being a senior, he takes a lot of pressure, which prevents him from playing aggressive. Exactly. Quinton should play as much balls as possible. KL gave him a strike. And that's what I'm talking about. When Janneman plays, Janneman's also a type of player that expects to face a lot of balls. That's the more balls Janneman faces, the better he becomes. That's my observation of someone like him. He's a player that really also needs that type of support on the other end. Someone that can really play almost it's not an anchor innings. It's not that I'm talking about. It's just making sure that you score regularly, keep the strike on the guy that's in form, which is probably always going to be Quinton de Kock. So I prefer a guy that like Temba, like I said. Um, Temba, Riza play a lot of dot strike rotation is less, which disturbs his rhythm and puts pressure on him. While Temba hasn't necessarily opened the batting with Quinny Olalo on a number of occasions in T20 cricket. It's been very up and down. We haven't seen a consistency there. And I think if Temba consistently bats with Quinton de Kock at the top of the order, we will see a very good partnership grow. Quinny actually spoke about it. I think it was against Australia, I think, here in South Africa, where they put on that amazing partnership in T20 cricket. And Quinny couldn't stop talking about how much he enjoyed playing with Temba Bavuma at the other end. So that's also very important. What does Quinny want? What does Quinny feel? What does Quinny think? Who does he feel is the best opening partner for him? And when does he play his best cricket is very important. Stop bringing domestic stats. International T20 stats are not good. We must get our best players in. Faf must come in and open with the cock. He's not going to, Justin. So no matter how much you shout and scream and be aggressive, whatever the case may be, you're not going to get your way because it's not going to happen, even though we want it to happen. Ideally, Aiden should open with him. Once again, another thing that I'm saying, Aiden is a type of guy that needs to face as many balls as possible. Aiden is the type of guy that we've seen as played his best cricket currently when the team is kind of in trouble or needs to take over that, take the runs to the next level. Possibly Aiden could adapt his game into a more attacking type of batter from the get-go. He could be an ideal partner in the future for Quinton de Kock as he gets older and understands his game a lot better. Khalid, I get your point about Temba, but I'm sorry, there's many better young T20 batters in our domestic circuit that can do far better job. It's very difficult for you to just say something like that without actually seeing them play international cricket. You can't necessarily compare domestic cricket to international cricket and say, oh yes, this guy's better just because his stats are good at domestic cricket. Like someone actually said earlier on in the stream. We don't know until they play international cricket. Like I said, look at Riza's stats domestically and look at his stats internationally. Riza is by far the best domestic T20 cricketer that we have currently in T20 cricket. The stats prove it. Every single time he plays, he performs. Every single time, he's quite consistent for the Lions. He's won them many, many trophies. We've seen how he's performed at domestic cricket in T20 cricket. But and even for the Josie Stars, if you look at the Mzansi Super League stats, he's right on top as one of the best top scorers of all time, top scorers in the 2 seasons that we've had in Mzansi Super League cricket. But yet we are not calling for him as the number one opener to bat with Quinny. We've seen how their partnership has put a little bit of pressure sometimes on Quinny in certain games. So from that perspective, I don't agree with you. I haven't necessarily seen openers that are really taking the game by storm, other than someone like Vian Libbe, who I think is an excellent batter. But he's also one of those striking star batters that needs to have a team around him or have a partner on the other end that supports him personally. It's difficult to have strikers to have a opening partnership with batsmen or striking at both ends. I know you bring up England a lot and we speak about that. They are a unique team that has that ability to be able to fine tune that. At the moment, with the squad that we have, I think Temba is the best partner for Quinny to get the best out of Quinny de Kock at this very moment. Maybe in the future we'll see something different happen. Now that's why Quinton de Kock doesn't perform so well ICC events. we as a public and CSA put so much pressure on him, which is not good for Quinny. Just let him be. Just tell him to bash it. I'm pretty sure they're telling that. I'm pretty sure that Boucher and him tell him that. I mean, if Boucher's such a great coach, he would. We talk about Boucher being a great coach, and we many fans are behind Boucher, and we should. If he is that good of a coach, he should be telling Quentin de Kock that, and I'm pretty sure he is. He understands Quinny better than most of us, so I'm pretty sure he tells Quinny that you can just go and be free. But if the pressure is on Quinny to be the only one scoring, I mean, if the pressure is on Quinny to be to be this basher all the time, every single game, sometimes the conditions don't allow you to do so. That's if you watch enough T20 cricket, we should know that as fans, because not every single international pitch allows you to just come out there and smack the ball from the get go. What if the pitch is not conducive for that? We've even seen England when they came here. We saw someone like David Malan, who is someone that is generally a quick batter and was number one T20 batter in the world at the time. He had to tailor his game, bat a lot slower. He batted deep, and he won that game for them. He had to tailor his game. He wasn't coming out and smashing from the first ball. So T20 cricket is not only about smashing. We can see that it's plain and simple. To the guys that love IPL cricket, it's so clear to see. It's not all about smashing. It's not all about just coming out and smacking the ball out of the park. There is also room for players that are good stroke players, run between the wicket, can accumulate runs, can support the batter at the other end that is going. So I don't feel that it's all about smashing all the time. T20 cricket has changed so much over the years. Definitely has. Um, Even Riza can do a temper job opening the batting with Quinton de Kock, as Riza has a solid power game. Timber can't be the only one playing that kind of innings. If all of us completely honest, the best opening partner for Quinton de Kock is Janaman. He can rotate, strike, and go after the attack. Does the same as Temba Bavuma, is just better. Let's be honest. I haven't, to be honest, I'm going to be honest, Lawrence. I don't necessarily always see Temba, Janaman Malan changing the strike, running between the wickets quickly, all of those type of things. I generally see Janaman Malan as a guy that can put a lot of pressure on you by hitting strong boundaries. He's very good at hitting the ball quite hard and getting those boundaries. His best innings, though, for South Africa have not been at a very good strike rate. His best innings for South Africa have been long innings where he's batted the entire innings and he's pushed on throughout the innings. And his best innings have come in ODI format, not in the T20 format. So there is still a lot of things that need to be learned. I've watched Janaman and Quinny open for the Blitz. There's been occasions where they've been good, and there's been occasions where they've been poor, and one of the people are losing their wickets or whatever the case may be. So it hasn't necessarily been a match winning type of partnership. When it comes to the Mzansi Super League, it wasn't, unfortunately. Mate, all the wickets in Australia will be flat roads, so no problem there. We don't know that for a fact. We don't know that it will all be flat and easy to flat wickets are good to bat on. We could see something different. We could see something that is movement. We've seen Janaman struggle against a moving, swinging ball. If there's some movement in the surface, if there's some swing from the opposition, there are certain teams that we know that are going to be bowling a lot. The ball's going to be moving a lot as well with certain teams, like if we face Pakistan, for example, Shaheen Afridi could really give Janaman some trouble. I mean, personally, I believe that right now, mentally, where his game is at the moment, I do think that I don't mind Timber. I think that Timber would be a good partner for Quinton de Kock personally, and I'm not being biased over here. I want the best partnership possible for Quinny, and I think that the best partners for Quinny are the ones that don't necessarily want the spotlight and are not necessarily looking to push for that, to push to be the main guy in the team. I agree with you that on Animan, but what I have Temba Bavuma in T20 is to stay in his place, apart from captaincy, of course. We are overlooking the importance of the captaincy. We needed someone like Temba Bavuma as captain that is making such good decisions. His captaincy at the moment, the decisions that he makes on the field, particularly, is crucial to South African cricket. Very, very crucial at the moment. Because if I look around that dressing room, I don't think anybody does the same thing that Temba Pavuma can do as a captain. Making the decisions that he makes, bravery that he makes, and he doesn't want the spotlight on him. He's a guy that that sits back and allows others to shine around him. That's always been Temba Pavuma's game since I've always seen him, and he's willing to soak up that pressure. He's a person that can soak up that pressure. With regards to Temba Pavuma, I think that when it comes to T20Is specifically, I don't believe that he's been treated correctly in T20 cricket, given a solid position consistently, and where I feel that he can um, be the type of batter he has the ability that within him. I've seen him play great innings where he has batted throughout an innings, scored winning runs, and won games. Um, and it's very important that that I think why Temba Bavuma has kept his place in the T20, from what Mark Boucher has said and what some batters have said, they've spoken specifically about his ability to play against spinners and his ability to be able to run between the wickets, which I feel is a massive problem in South African cricket. We are not one of the best teams in the world when it comes to rotating strike. And I think that's where Temba's strength is. And I think Temba Bavuma also, his ability to play against spin was a particular reason why they they picked him, because no matter where you play, whether it's in Australia, whether it's in India, whether it's in Abu Dhabi, whether it's in South Africa, in T20 cricket, a spinner is always going to have his say in a match. It always seems to happen, no matter what the conditions are. Spinners always have their say. Now, whether you play two, three, four spinners, two spinners, three spinners, that's another story altogether. But if you have a very good spinner or a spinner in your team, anybody's going to struggle against him. And you can see instantly, if we can see issues with certain players, imagine internationally. You can see already when Kuyanaman Malan comes out to bat these days, instantly they bring on a spinner to open the bowling, because they know it's going to slow down the game and put pressure on the opposite, on the other batter, on the other end. Where I feel that Temba won't get bogged down like that in T20 cricket when it comes to opening the batting. I don't think he gets bogged down. I think when there's pressure on him and the wickets are collapsed and he comes in early, there might be occasion. But I've seen even in the World Cup when he had his opportunities to bat, I think Temba Bavuma did decently. Yes, we weren't all happy about all his strike rates, but his performances were key to us winning certain games. But I think they need to be consistent with where they select him. They need to select him consistently as an opener, not be up and down with his selection all the time. I feel that they need to be consistent with his selection when it comes to that. There were many SA captains in the past who haven't performed but kept their spots. Why should it be different to Temba? Come on. Many South African captains in the past who haven't performed but kept their spot. But who said Temba's not performing though? Like, I don't think Temba's not performing necessarily. So I think that in recent times we've seen some good innings from Temba Bavuma in T20 cricket. And you're rating him on 20 or a couple of games that he's played in for T20 cricket. He hasn't necessarily played a lot of T20 cricket games in the past. And right now, the difference is that Temba Bavuma is the best possible captain that we do have as well. I'm not saying that the captaincy should keep him alone. He needs to perform 100%. But in theory, when I'm thinking about it, if they can decide what they're going to do with Temba and allow him to open the batting with Quinny, I think that as an opener, he'll be a lot better than batting at 3-4 and letting him bounce around just to fit him in the team. I don't think that gives the right message to us as fans and to everybody out there as well. So yeah, I still have belief in Temba because I want him to do well. I still have belief that he can be the right answer. But according to some of you guys in the live chat, it doesn't seem that way. And you want Janaman Malan, and that's okay. I don't have an issue with that. I was a bit sad for Janaman that he didn't get into the squad at least and get some games, because I think that he does deserve some games as well in T20 cricket. I think it's a bit unfair how they pushed him away. but there is some aspects in his game that he needs to learn and needs to improve on as well. But guys, that's all we have for today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know that you guys were probably mad with me because I'm saying things that you maybe don't want to hear, and it's okay. We're not always going to agree on everything. There are going to be some things that we don't agree on. Um, I'm going to I'm going to hold it down because Faf is not available. You know, if Faf was available, we would be having a different conversation, because then I feel that Faf would take that position, and there won't be and maybe an extra. We won't need necessarily an extra batter like Themba Bavuma in the team. I think there's a necessity for the type of batter that he is right now in the South African lineup. But then from 3 till 6, we need to make sure that we pick the right players. Rassie van der Dussen, Markram Miller. That's important that that those guys are in the team, and that will be able to push that run rate if there is any trouble. But I think what to get the best out of Quinny, I feel that he needs someone that rather supports him than takes his shine. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to drop a like on this video as well, and comment and share with everybody as well, please. And also become a part of Clicker Fanatics Magazine Monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. And don't forget to don't forget to go to clickerfanaticsmag.com for all updates. You can also help us out by becoming a patron today. This company is 100% bootstrapped. It's all us putting our money but it's made from the channel back into the channel. So please help us out by becoming a patron today. It's not a lot of money, guys. You can choose how much you actually want to pay towards us, but every single little bit counts, guys. So please get involved with the Patreon account. The link is in the description as well. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another daily show. We've got our fan Q&A session again. Very excited for that. I love it. So get your questions in on Instagram, also in the live chat tomorrow when we do the discussions. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.